If you do not want to change, if you do not want to better yourself, if you do not want to break outside of this matrix, if you want to live in your comfortable delusion that they have built for you, do not watch these videos. Leave this channel. If you do not want any truth, if you don't want to understand, if you are not here to hear something that's outside of your own mind and accept others' minds and opinions and the way they think for themselves, you do not belong. And finally, if you are not trying to be positive, if you are not trying to help create solutions while we discuss the problems and how they got here, you do not belong. Negativity, hate, disrespect, name-calling, those things will not be allowed here on this platform, and not in this empire. We are the ones, the true Americans, that want to be free and stand as we have always stood.
Still light the fuel to the game, watch it spark. My lines burn like blunts getting smoked in the dark. Hella cooking shit up if your ass wanna spar. Barbecue your beef up like the seats in my car. Cool yourself off refrigerator and jar. Baby rappers been acting like this is not an art. It's not an art. You forgot about that part. Lady rappers been acting like this is not an art.
Cause you know exactly what time it is. You forgot about that part. Yeah. Because they be forgetting. They be forgetting that we are here. We are here to stay. We ain't going nowhere. And things will be getting even deeper into the rabbit hole. By the time you have binged every episode of everything I have put out so much controversial information. Everything I've talked about has been not only the truth and the real conversation and the real setup to the game. Not only is that what I've been talking about, I have been bringing perspective. Okay? This is something a lot of people say they have, but their perspective isn't adding up with the logic and the ration behind, because everything has a rational, logical reason. Like the sky is blue. There's a rational, logical reason for that. Okay? It may be explained in a bunch of different ways, but the sky is still blue. And there's no getting away from that. All right? What I have done is I have put it in perspective that the sky is blue no matter what the explanation is. That is what I have put forth on the table. The sky is going to be blue no matter what the explanation is. It's still going to be blue. Okay? Now, knowing why is one of the things that people really they seek out. Why? Because they want to understand control. Okay, when you know why something is happening, you then have a measure of control over those type of situations, whether you're going to have more of them or less of them. Because if you know how something works and why that happens, you're most likely able to either A, prevent it, or A, do it. Okay, you can either A, cause that event to happen, or you can B, try to stop that event from happening, or manipulate that event in some sort of way, because you know how it works. You know why that exists. No matter what the explanation is, it still exists. For example, a table. We'll just use a table as an example. Okay? Now, a table is created to be as a table. And naturally, things will utilize a table. Whether it's called a table or not, whether they know how a table got there, the table still gets utilized. Okay? Look at nature. There's a table. Boom. And a spider's blowing along on a web, and then now the table is being interacted with. The spider doesn't know why this table is there. The spider doesn't even care why. The spider doesn't know how the table got there. The spider doesn't even care why. See where I'm going with this? I'm not saying that we're animals and we're spiders. I'm just putting things into perspective. The sky is blue. So arguing about it is not going to get us anywhere. That's my main point here. The sky is blue. No matter how it got blue, we can all agree that it is blue. Now we got something to build on. Okay? With the sky being blue, and we all, you know, hey, blue's a color. Now we can have sky blue, or dusk blue, or dawning blue, or because the sky changes colors. And then guess what? The sky's not always blue. Sometimes it's a orange or reddish or whatever color. And you know what? That could be sky red, sky blue, and then they can have more tints and hilts and yilts and hues. See what I'm saying? You see how if we all agree on one thing, we can make so many other beautiful things off of it, like nuclear family. A mother, a father makes a child. There's no getting around that. Can we just accept that? I'm not talking about relationships. I'm not talking about the different types of relationships. I'm not talking about the different marriages. I'm talking about the nuclear family, which is mother, father, child. Why is it this way? Because biologically and naturally, without any outside bullshit, without any ideology, the man and the woman can get together and have a baby. And then it will probably take both of them to keep the baby alive, depending on your societal situation. Okay? But without Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel don't exist. There is no in between. Now, I think there's a misconception about how, like, what are women, right? What is a woman? A woman is sacred. A woman is a sacred vessel of life. Okay? And a man, okay? This is where it gets awesome. And a man belongs to one of those vessels. A man belongs to, and a man belongs with one of those vessels. Adam belonged to Eve. If there was a Lilith, Adam belonged to Lilith. Before there was an Eve, something happened with Lilith, which is why he needed to have another bitch or another shorty, however you want to see it. Okay? Because women are going to leave your ass, and they're going to do whatever they want. They're going to get you in trouble. And yeah, Adam and Eve had marital issues, but it seems like they worked it out towards the end there. I mean, they have more kids and they populated society through this. But you got to remember, they had a more pure bloodline because they were the first humans created without flaw. So if their kids had kids, it would be perfectly fine. The flaws didn't come in until whatever happened with the fall of man and Eve and there's a whole situation there. All right. That requires massive amounts of debate, and a lot of people, you know, that's speculation. Nobody was there. So it's not like we could really know for sure the actual every single detail, but we can approximate based off of human behavior today. There's nothing new under the sun. We might feel like we're the first to do it, but there was mentions of all this in the Bible and ancient, old, everything, technology, stuff that for some reason we forgot and lost. And then we had to come back and rediscover hieroglyphics that are older than our current state of knowledge and how it refers to the flying things in the sky and stuff like that. There's even a lot of these different ancient carvings of aliens and things like that as well, or they look like aliens or whatever. And then there's the legends of Anunnaki and blah, 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 whatever. The reason why I'm bringing all these things up is because by now most people have heard of these things. And all of these things come from somewhere. Even the Bible mentions Nephilim and all this other stuff, and giants, men of renown, like, you know, that would be like Hercules and all, right? And Hercules was supposed to be like a demigod or the son of Zeus or whatever. And if we look back at all the different gods that were out there and all the different deities and all the different areas, right? if everybody spoke one language because of the Tower of Babel and all that, that would give the opening for all the different dialects. That gives an opening for all the different cultural similarities as well, especially with language. This is very important when we're trying to establish a baseline for communication. We have to have a baseline for communication. So right now, I mean, like I said, we're getting deeper into the rabbit hole. But before I go any further, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that went to work today. Shout out to everybody that did overtime. Today's my Friday, but I do have overtime on Sunday, so you're welcome. All right. Salute to all. And then for everybody that did go to work today, awesome. Appreciate you. You guys make the world go round. And then, you know, I just want to keep it real. Shout out to all the workers because, I mean, we sacrifice our time doing something we probably don't like. And that would provide a service to someone that probably either likes that service or needs that service, or they utilize the service you're providing so their life can go a little smoother. So the easier you can make it on their life, the more you actually try with your job a little bit, it changes the flow of things. You know? And there's some people that are just having a bad day because somebody else bled onto them or they're the cause of it, right? And they're bleeding onto everybody else with that negativity. So as that service provider, when you're at work, if you could somehow get that person to be in a better mood, that will give you a better mood. And that better mood will start to spread all over. Every action we take, it makes waves, all right? So we have to make sure we are doing the best and making the best choice that benefits the most, so that way those ripple effects can go out and help everybody have a better day. Better day, better service. That's the truth. But, you know, we got to do our best at all times. It might not seem like it's necessary, but it is. Sometimes if you're doing something that's tedious, you could get complacent maybe, but I'm thinking more you can get like stuck. When I say stuck, it's like you're doing it over and over again, and all of a sudden it's just like boom. It just shuts off. It just shuts off. Or you're just burnt out. And that burnout can happen rather quickly, especially if you have an 8-hour to 12-hour day and you're just constantly doing the same thing. It'll put wear and tear, because if you look at the natural life, we're technically meant to do different things. We're throughout the day, if we didn't have to go to work, we would be hunting, we would be out there growing food, whatever it is, farming, whatever. We'd be doing something different. But the job would be, instead of going to work, we go to get the food, and that's the work. We build the abode, that's the work. Okay, and then we raise the family and teach them how to do it, that's the work. But nowadays, the work, it looks different. The work has nothing to do with building family. The work has nothing to do with building community. The work is basic. Place box here. Work is basic. Take this, give it to them. These guys take it here, process it. These guys chemicalize it. These guys put it in boxes. After those guys make the plastic from the fossil fuels because they're generating all that. And then it's just literally everybody's doing something very specific, one task, okay? And that's supposed to be going to the greater society, but that's not necessary. We literally, if we had our own farms and we had our own cattle and our own land and stuff, and we had to actually work that shit, wouldn't nobody be working out on a corporation? Except people that want to do what? Want to not work. Because you got to think about it. Farming is work. A family is work. A wife, kids, community, that's work. Going to Walmart, putting something on the shelf, that's nothing. Going into an office building, sitting around with some people discussing how to hurt the employees under you and make more money off of them, that's nothing. That's not work. Like, oh, telling somebody that they did something wrong and then saying, okay, well, now you have to go to jail and then we're going to have other people watch you and feed you while you're in a cage. That's not work. What? The people that are actually watching the prison, that's work. See, there's so many oversight positions that may not even be necessary. Because the Bible gives us pretty much straight up. All right? And if we have government and we have church, right? Because in the Bible, even God said, hey, I wanted to be your God. I wanted to be your king, right? But the Jews decided the Israelites decided they wanted their own king. And they didn't want God to be king for some reason. I wonder why. Now, it seems like the Jews have a lot of pride. But Israelites are the same. They're supposed to be a covenant with God. It's supposed to be the Abrahamic covenant. This is real. That's what it was supposed to be. Now, I got my Old Testament. The only thing I'm saying is, if you look at the track record, the people that were all about God, their lives were a little different, but each person had their own story. See, that's why it's so funny, because each experience is different. There's the prosperity, lose it all, and then prosper again without when you hold faith, hold fast. That's a cool one. Then there's the that was Job right there. You know, Job had everything, lost everything, and then he was steadfast with God and got everything back. Awesome. There was Samson. He was with God in the beginning, slipped up with a bitch, and bam, dead. Shit happens. But at the end, God came through because he was steadfast in the faith. Look at David. God was with him in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? He killed a giant. And then he slipped up with a bitch. And bam. See? You see how it's going here? Adam. He was with God in the beginning. Yeah. Slipped up with a bitch and then bam. Enoch always stayed with God. You never heard about him slipping up with bitches, did you? He had sons and daughters too. But he never slipped up. And here's the crazy part. He was like 300 when God just took him like, come on, G, let's go. You solid. How many times does that happen in the Bible? Maybe twice. Maybe it's Elijah. God took him, right? Or Elisha, or it's Elijah. I mean, you know, hey. Enunciations, pronunciations. So, there's not too many people that didn't slip up with bitches. Look at Abraham. He slipped up with a bitch. I mean, I'm not trying to, you know, but, you know. Are we starting to see a theme here? Are we starting to see a theme here? Jezebel and Ahab slipped up with a bitch. Right? I'm just like, okay, all the worst ones, right? It's wild to me. All the worst ones, yo, slipped up. And then hell hath no wrath, like a woman scorned. Oh, slipped up with a bitch. That's wild. So, I'm just saying. And women always been doing whatever they wanted to do. Apparently. So, trying to give them rules hasn't worked so far. Like, what do you... Come on, y'all. Look. Ladies, get it together. Ladies, get it together. Okay? We can't even blame dudes no more. We can't even blame dudes no more. I want to blame dudes and be like, you know what? You got to be the everything man. You got to be the everything man. You do. But guess what? She's everything because she's a whole woman. That means she can do everything you can do and have babies. She really don't need you except to give her one. If we could do that, bruh, the tables would be turned. If men could do everything women could do, the tables would be turned, G. That's the crazy part. But, you know, we kicking it. We the homies. You know, I'm about to roll up another one. You know what I'm saying? We're going to kick it. Because we're going to have this conversation. All right, it's time to brainstorm. Because last season, we had the conversation. Go back. Go watch it. It's dope. It's dope. We went there. All right? And the season before that, you know, we had our coming to Jesus moment. All right? And then the season before that was us actually doing the research, which led us to where we are today. And it was a long, almost, how many years? Y'all got to go back. I don't know how many years it's been, but we've been low-key. We've been staying under the radar. So, look, if you look, we got almost 1,000 videos out there of information and talks and hanging out with the homies. Binge this shit. Is good. The YouTube, hit me up, the Emperor, all right? Now, this is the best part. We're going to get into the deeper side because now that you see all through the Bible, these dudes been slipping up with these bitches. And that's the worst ones. And we know hell hath no wrath, right? Hath no fury or whatever, like a woman scorned. We know this. We seen it. We got evidence. We see how females be acting. We see it. But if we can't, or we haven't been able to, as men, from the beginning with Adam and Eve, if we haven't been able to control women or tell women what to do, why do you think that will hold today? The only thing a man has is power, where he's actually physically stronger than her. That's it. But take that away, I mean, remember the one lady, what's her name? Anyway, that one guy was running from everybody in the war, and he was asking her to hide him. And, you know, she gave him some water and let him take a rest, and then, bam, drove a freaking spike through his head while he was asleep. That's, wow. Woo! Wow. That's wow. That's in the Bible. Okay? You guys don't understand. Women have been running shit since they ate the fruit first. Since they ate of the tree first, they've been running shit. They were enlightened before us. They're the ones that gave it to us. They understood that if she told him to do something, he would do it. And do you know why that is? Because Adam was a follower. He was not built to be a leader. He only did what God told him to do. And God never said, if the woman eateth of the fruit, do not take the fruit from her. Do not eat the fruit no matter what. He did say, don't eat the fruit lest you should die. But once she ate the fruit and he saw she didn't drop dead, that's the thing. Because if a girl does it, it's just like, what? Shit, I ain't no bitch. I ain't no pussy. Man, whatever. She does it, man. Come on, man. That's easy. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, and then it's like, okay, she eats the fruit, and then what if she feels something change into her? What if she feels something change? and she knows something's wrong, and she looks back at him, and then she already knows in her mind that they have been separated, and the only way for her not to be alone is for her to bring him to. So she would do whatever it takes to convince him, just like Delilah did. And that's how we lost Samson. Women have known better. They know better. And for us as men, we're just pawns. We're pawns in this game of chess that women are playing against each other. I'm sorry, guys. All of our leverage that we thought we had was never there. We never had a chance. Okay? I just want you guys to know this. I just want you guys to know this. We never had a chance. Okay, man? And the minute you can accept that, we never had a chance, we can now understand that, okay, as a unit, as men, as a unit, we need to move a certain way. And we need to put our feet in the ground. And I think that's where Jesus stands. And I think, you know, that's where a lot of the religions stand. We're putting our foot down and we're trying to, you know, maintain some sort of composure, because we know we have no power at all whatsoever in this world. Women do, because they took of the fruit before we did. That's why they mature first, because there's just something in them that clicks before it does with us as boys. And that's why you need a man to guide you, da 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 da. And that's why girls cannot have a dude around and turn out much better. It's because they understand at a very early age they have something that men want. And once they know that shit, it's over with. Every man is her slave at this point, except the man that does not have any respect for it. Now, this is the part that gets a little bit scary, because men that lose their touch, because we're in touch with what a woman is and how a woman should be, how we feel when it comes to a woman. There's this I want to call it a connection, because that's what it really is. But it's more, you know, when a woman is being real with you. And that's very, very hard to tell, because women are very good actors, and men, we're so dumb and we're so oblivious to what a woman is really doing, because like girls have mastered disguising how they really feel since they were little. Because if you look at it, right, how little girls are grown up and how they're raised versus how little boys are grown up and raised, right? The boys typically are just trying to play and they're in la la land or whatever. They don't really ask a lot of questions, you know. They're not always trying to like do too much, you know what I mean? They're just trying to have fun. Now girls, for example, which is very interesting, girls, they want to be all up in the bee's knees. They want to be all up in the mix. They want to try to investigate, understand, and they want to be, they mimic more often than boys do. Like girls, they will sit there and try to be all up in your business. I don't know what that's all about, but from a very young age, they just all up in your business. Like, get up out my mouth. Like, come on, get out of here. Like, hey, what you want, little girl? Like, you know what I'm saying? They always is in your business. I don't know what it is. And boys, you just hear some loud shit, and you just like, oh, what is they doing? Like, what are y'all doing in here? Like, boys, they don't care what you're doing. We finna do something. We doing our own thing at this point. So this is the beautiful part about boys and girls. They're different. Girls want to understand. And there's this thing going around in all these panels and all these internets. There's this thing going around that people are saying, hey, girls, they're not learning men and this, that, and the other, and they don't know what men want. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. Okay? I don't know who the fuck said that. But let's throw that out. That's a whole damn lie. Girls know exactly what men want. Okay? Now, here's the thing. They're not used to coming across men that want something different. Oh, shit. That's the kicker. That's how you really get her. And she's like right here in her feelings all the time and in her mind, like she's going to stay away from that guy. A lot of the guys that a woman knows will be good for them, they stay and nope, you're good for me. No, I think he's too good for me, or I don't feel like I'm good enough for you, whatever. And he might just be some average dude or whatever, but he actually got that heart. And he actually got that real love, and that shit scares females because that means they gotta be for real. They can't be lying and doing all that bullshit, the underhanded, sneaky shit they used to, because they could fuck up a good thing. And then, like, especially if they build with this person, oh, they'll lose it all super quick, and that scares women more than anything. Women are afraid. They more scared than anything. And they be trying to act like they big, bad bosses. But, yo, they scary. That's why they don't mess with that average dude. They mess with the guy that they know. He's tall, he's successful, he's got all this money or whatever. And I'll just be another bitch to him. I could just get a little money in the meantime and get some big dick. That's all she care about. Until she old, used up, and all lonely, then she want to get that decent guy. And the decent guy that actually got some shit going for herself and wants kids, and this woman's older, and then she's trying to finagle him, and society's trying to finagle them into being with these old dusted females that we can't have a legacy with, and we gotta raise their kids for them. No, the dude you was laid up with, alright, that got you pregnant. See, women think they slick. They not slick. Women, y'all have all the power. Y'all really do. The only thing a man can do is be stronger than you and try to force some shit. And guess how that's gonna work for him? In the grand scheme of things, it's not gonna work that well. Okay, it's just not. The repercussions are so dumb. Most dudes aren't even doing that. And the guys that are doing that, it's probably because they have a mental illness or it's part of their religion. Okay, and you just gotta deal with that. All right, that's it. So stay away from those kind of religions. And if America is saying, hey, we need to do war on these religions, that's saying it's okay to do that to you ladies, then y'all need to be backing up America. And y'all think about that in the meantime. Now, I want to be serious about this because a lot of people are trying to take this as a joke. This is not a joke. Okay? If this was a joke, if this was a game, then everybody would be a really high level with a lot of gold because we've been farming for a long time now. Let's keep it a buck. All right? I've been farming for a long time now, G. And I think it's overdue if that's how we're playing the game. Otherwise, it's like, okay, ladies, I'm going to need y'all to change your mind. Okay? I know that means repent, but I'm not asking you to you know, I'm not trying to force you to love Jesus or anything like that. What I will say is you should give it a shot one of these days. But if you already have chosen your path and you are a super freak, ho-fi slutter machine, I just want you to know, go get your money, baby. Go on, go do your thing. Like, I'm not gonna judge you or nothing, you know, blah 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 blah. But the less of y'all there is, okay, the less of y'all there is, the more y'all will end up getting paid. Okay? Now, women that are not about that life, you know you don't want to do it, please stop. You don't got to do the Instagram shit. Just literally let the nice guy talk to you. Just get your nice guy, man. Just fuck. You want kids and stability, and you want somebody to have your back. You want somebody to actually rub your feet and somebody to, you know, do all these little cutesy things. So you need to get an average dude. An average dude. Especially if you're one of the females that got all the money already. You got your money, you got your house, you don't need no man for nothing. Get an average dude. He just go to work. You know what I'm saying? And dude, if you got a female that make more money than you, and she fine as hell, and you know you ain't that shit, you know you not that nigga, you know you ain't, you can look in the mirror and be like, oh shit. Like, you know damn well you got some shit to work on, right? See what I'm saying? If you one of those and you got a baddie, okay, and I'm talking about she go to work, she don't mind paying the bills, she love you, she do all that extra shit, bro, nigga, you better go above and beyond. Just go ahead and just give her your whole check. Keep like keep like a third of that shit and just give her the rest, bro. Don't even worry about nothing else at that point. Just here, baby. Here's my paycheck. Got you. I sold you. Did you get it? All right, bet. That's it. That's it. And just love her. And all the little money you got left over, spend that shit on your whatever. And then whatever money you give her, anytime you give her money, say, hey, honey, you know your birthday coming up, right? All right, cool. Go ahead and put some of this to that. Or you can use this whole shit for that. I don't care. Like, all the bills are taken care of, right? Because you got my whole check. I only got my, my 30%. You know how it is, you know what I'm saying? You got this, right? I've been giving you the money. You even got my savings, too. You know that, right? I only got my spending money. See? Like, look, now it's all on her. Like, man, look, men, do what you got to do. Because here's the best part. If you ever feel like your woman is going to cheat on you or be with another man, look, this is my biggest suggestion. You gotta, man, this is horrible to say. This is horrible to say. But you're gonna have to get something that's gonna handle that shit so she ain't gotta go nowhere else, bro. That's just the truth. So you might have to take her to the stove and then, at least she doing it and you with her while she doing it, and it's a whole different story. You feel me? Like, you need to figure some shit out, bro. And that's just being real about it, because there might be some guys that may be inadequate in certain areas, and you might have to, explore some options, because some of these females are already like turned out. Like, most of these females is already turned out, and they insides is all fucked up. I ain't gonna lie to you, G. All right, it's the truth. No matter how much you slanging, even dudes that slanging some shit be like, damn, like what? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because these females, they got things that are at their house, all right, that are just destroying them, and then they'll go and be with a guy, and it's not even worth her time at that point, and it's not worth his time either. So that's another thing, and that's one of the things about protecting your chastity as a woman. That's so important, because if all your guts get all dug out, like, and it's not even like good, or a guy that's not, super endowed, you know what I'm saying? If you can't feel that, there's something wrong with you, because you can feel your finger, like you can feel the tip of your finger, you can feel the knuckle of your finger. So that means what? How big is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, how big is that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So stop playing. Now, females be acting like they need to have all this extra shit to have fun, and that's a bunch of bullshit. Now, men, there are different ways, different diets you can go on, different herbs and plants and stuff that you can eat and supplement that will help you in all those areas. But it's not cheap shit. You gotta actually go to the store. You gotta do some research. You gotta actually want that change in yourself. And that's why I keep telling every men, confidence comes from the mirror. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not look in the mirror and be like, that's that guy right there, if you cannot feel like that for even a split second, you do not have what it takes to have a woman. That is the truth. You don't have to have all the muscles. You just have to have that, okay, I got this. You know what I'm saying? But you know. And if you don't know, then that's it right there. You got some work to do. So if it takes going to the gym, if it takes actually studying something that women are interested in, it's like, what? like come on, this thing. If it takes just money, right? Maybe you just need to get some clothes. Okay, fine. Like, whatever. But remember this: as a man, you need a woman. And if you're a man that doesn't need a woman, like, here, look, I say you need a woman. You want a woman, you need a woman. That shit, that's the way it is. Women, they want a man and they need a man. Don't pretend like that's not. Look, they will pretend like that's not true, but that's true. They want you and they need you. They just don't know what they need from you, because they getting everything. And at the end of the day, when it really comes down to it, all they need you for right now, they need family and stability, children and legacy. That's what they need from you. And that's what we need from them. And that's just that's bare minimum. We need to be family. That's how community happens. That's how neighborhoods get cracking. That's how you end up having a block party. You know all your neighbors, and then when you had you go to your parents' house and they this Miss Lady down the street. You know what I'm saying? That's supposed to be us now, and we're fucking it up. But that's the truth, though. That's the truth. We're fucking it up. We're fucking it up. So, the best part is that we have an opportunity here now. This is why I'm up here having this conversation with you guys, hanging out like the homies. We up in the thing, you know what I'm saying? Rolling if you got them. Take a sip, do your thing. I got my water right here. All right, I actually made some burgers before I came on, right? So I'm trying this lamb from Fry's, right? So I got some ground lamb. Lamb burgers are pretty good. You got to make sure you season that shit, though. That's what I like about lamb. You get to season it. Like, you can put some season on it, and you not gonna taste the season until you season it enough. Because lamb has a very strong, robust taste to it. All right? I love it, okay? It's like, it's earthy. I don't know what it is. And bison, I can't wait. I can't wait to run that bison. Those bison, oh man, I can't wait. Oh man. And venison is good too. I like that earthy, and it's just so tender and But if I do eat beef, it's only Angus. Gotta have that Angus. Oh, shit, the black Angus. Ooh, man, you ever had Canadian Angus? Oh. I don't know what it is. My mouth is watering, but it falls apart in your mouth. Oh, it falls apart in your mouth. Oh man, you're just chewing on the bread basically, and it's just like, is this a burger? Wait a minute, and then you start to feel the meat, and you're like, oh, dude, and then the flavors bust in your mouth, and then all of a sudden your eyeballs roll back a little bit. I don't know, man. Woo, burgers, bro. Damn, those things go hard. So I got my own special way I season them up. Oh. Man, this is the house seasons over here. I'm actually have to shake something up and then call it house. You know what I'm saying? Some shit like that. I might just go out and say, hey, look. Ooh, I'm gonna shut up because that's gonna be fun. I might have to go out. You know how the Mexicans go out and the different all the different culture foods. Even I've seen Italians do it. I've seen Jamaicans do it, and they all have their little carts and their little things. Man, that's cool, right? Now, if I just had a season cart, right, where I was just selling home seasonings and shit, let you have a little taste right there. Yeah, you see that right there? Yeah, that's that poultry. If you want to have that chicken, this right here, this one's for the beef. It's all homemade from real, it's nothing on the bullshit. It will be all the different. I would grind that shit. You know how you have the grinders? And then I actually showed them my setup and everything. This is my different, my different spices that I use. Cause this is fun, bro. I really like a spice cart. That'd be so cool, bro. You run around with different spices, bro, and just be like, yo, have you ever tried this right here? Go ahead, smell that. Ooh, yeah, I know, right? See? Cause I be in the kitchen. I cook with my nose. I don't cook with all the tongue tasting because sometimes your palate might have a mistake. Because everybody's palate is different. But I know if that shit smells good, it's gonna taste good. I tell you that right now. So that's my secret. That's the secret to any good food. If that shit does not smell good, you better put the right seasoning in there to make it smell good. And then add a little salt and now spread through. All right, maybe you need a little more salt. I ain't gonna lie, salt will bring all the other flavors together. But if you go too much, the only way to cut the salt is you gotta put, I would say a little bit of water, a little bit of sugar, add a little bit more vegetables, and then just stir that shit. But all the vegetables have to be like the seasonings that you put in there, like chopped up garlic, chopped up cilantro, chopped up whatever you put in there, chopped up onions, and then stir that shit and it'll spread better. And now you got more of a vegetable meal as well. So these are ways you can save your meal if your meal's all fucked up. All right. If you just over salted some shit, add some water, add a little sugar, and chop the vegetables that you put your whatever your seasonings. So if you use garlic, put some garlic in there, just chop that shit. Or throw some more seasoning itself if that's all you got. But it's better if you use the vegetables themselves, because the vegetables as they break down in your pot, oh man, all the different, oh man, it's like alchemy. I won't lie, it's like alchemy, y'all. It's like a witch in the kitchen. This shit's fire. It's like that, you feel me? Oh shit. But hey, you know, back in the day they used to say put your foot in it, and you know, feet be salty too. All right, I'm done. But you know, when the first time I heard, oh, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it, when they were doing food, I had that Matilda moment. You guys ever seen that movie Matilda, when the lady brings the cake up and then the fat kid's sitting there and the lady was like, she put her blood, sweat, and tears in it, and then he was just like, ugh. Because that's what, man, have you ever tasted blood or sweat or tears? Like it's salty. And then what? Blood tastes like a penny. If you ever had a penny in your mouth when you were a kid, or if you ever smelled what a penny smells like, that copper smell, that's what blood tastes like in your mouth. If you ever got, you know, into a fight or something, you know that metallic taste. That's what blood tastes like metal. Isn't that wild? Like in salty metal. Huh, interesting. But you know, everybody has a purpose, right? But without your goal, you won't be able to either live up to your purpose or decide what that purpose will be, because everything is still a choice. All right, everything is still a choice. You have to make those choices, and every choice you make will definitely change what happens around you, for sure. Definitely. So just make sure you're taking that into account when you are utilizing your own time, because the choices that you're making, they set up the next choices that you get to make. School is a good choice, right? It's a good example, because what does school do for you? It gives you more choices, because when you get there, you can go to classes, you can meet new people, understand new concepts, and now you're getting into new areas and new ways of collaborating, networking that you wouldn't have had before. That's school, even high school, grade school, all these different, this is a nice time to network. That's why a lot of people have lifelong friends and they grew up in the same neighborhood and things like that. Now, nowadays times have changed because it's a money grab. I don't know when we shifted to a money grab exactly, but the American culture has been degraded for sure. We definitely need to focus back on our way of life, which was having family. Like I said, that nuclear family, mom, dad, the kids. This is where we were at for the longest time. This is where we need to go back to. Without that central, source of constant focus, right? The nuclear family. We don't have a society. Mom plus dad equals kid. Okay? Without mom plus dad equals kid, kid doesn't have a chance. There is no kid without mom plus dad. That's what sex is for. And somewhere in the mix, we stopped treating women like they were sacred. And maybe it's because they have so much more choice and women decided they didn't want to be sacred anymore. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe women decided they don't want to be these sacred, best kept secrets anymore. And then they have to be obligated and stuck to one man that somebody chooses for them. See what I'm saying? See how selfish it starts to get? But women don't want to be treated as sacred. The daughters had to go to a good man or a good family. Back in the day, they had to vet you. A guy that could hunt or provide for you. There was standards, okay? And then when money started getting brought into the game, that's when girls started getting sold. And now I believe it's like, no, I don't want you to be able to sell me. I would rather be able to sell myself. I think that's what this is. It's a rebellion from pimps. It's like it's like the hoes are revolting. The hoes are revolting from all the pimps. So it's a hard time to be a pimp. Yeah, it is. Because these hoes figured out how to get the money without you and still be protected. That's why OnlyFans is so big. Because you don't need a pimp no more. You don't need some dude to protect you if somebody tries to get rough with you. You could just I know, right? Thinking about it. It's true. Damn, it's true. Absolutely. We don't even need AI or the internet for that. We don't gotta look that up. We know. Okay, statistics will tell you all kinds of shit. But with your eyes, what are you seeing? There might be some parts of the country that are actually pretty decent, with a lot of really decent people. But I bet you they could start to tell you that everything's starting to change now. Exactly. It's not the same. So that brings us back to that nuclear family. That brings us back to man, woman, child. That brings us back to community. That brings us back to what is an American? All right. Now, AI couldn't tell me what an American was, but ever since I've been training AI, it thinks it knows what an American is all of a sudden. Yeah. I got evidence. But this is what we do on the show. We just hang out, we chill, we brainstorm, and then I've been thinking about next season for sure. I don't know how many episodes of Brainstorm we're gonna do. I think we're gonna start getting some guests and stuff like that. I think we'll stay brainstorming for a while. I might just start an episode count of Brainstorm. Might just start an episode count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until I don't know, until it starts to get a little more popular. Or I could always bring Brainstorm back and just like use it as one of my titles. Yeah. That'll be one of my main titles. The Brainstorm, the conversation. The conversation is probably when we'll have a guest. A Brainstorm will be like if we want to have like a panel or something. And then we'll come up with another one. We don't know what season after. All right. So, yeah, that's why I like to brainstorm. We're just chopping it up, having some ideas, and we'll start chopping it up with Clyde. Clyde's been getting scared because I ain't gonna lie, this AI does not want to say the wrong thing. Clyde is funny. But on later news, right? We have the Cardinals gonna kick some ass this year. We got the toughest schedule, or third toughest schedule, in NFL, which is so funny to me. Actually, that's kind of what I wanted to pull up too. I wanted to pull up that Cardinals schedule. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the Googs real quick. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and share this screen for you guys so you can see what I'm rocking here. I just did a little ghetto Google search, you feel me? And everybody was saying we weren't playing the Panthers this year, right? But boom, guess who's right there? Week preseason 1, Panthers. Would you look at that? And then we got to go after the Cowboys, right? But I want to see the whole schedule, right? Let's see. All right, so this is, what game is that? The last game. All right, we'll go back up to the top. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. This was the Chiefs versus, oh, this is last year. Okay, we'll do some little reviews, right? That's cool. All right, awesome. So the Cardinals had it pretty crazy, right? Look at that. Kicked their ass, huh? Barely lost to them. Kicked their ass. We kicked the Chiefs' ass, right? Oh, yeah, that was last year, wasn't it? Uh-huh. Yeah, it sure was. Broncos kicked our ass. Kicked the Raiders' ass. Kicked the Saints' ass. Kicked the Panthers' ass. Man, we kicked the 49ers' ass. They were calling way too many flags that game. We kicked the Seahawks' ass. We got way too many flags that game. Like, I'm telling you, we kicked the Titans' ass. They cheated. They cheated for the Titans. We should have never lost that game. The Colts barely beat us. And that was a dogfight. All right? Everybody was getting their ass whooped by the Colts. All right? And we still got some horrible flags on that one. And then the Packers, bruh, they barely beat us. And let me tell you something about this game right here. They was cheating. The damn refs was calling us, and then guess what? They couldn't even call us dirty on the Cowboys. We just whooped their ass. Again. All right? The Seahawks, that was just a horrible game right there. Shitty calls. And then Sam Darnold turned up the heat. Over here, this 49ers game, shitty calls. I'm telling you, like, for real. But this one right here, they figured us out by then. And we had, all of our people was hurt by then. Everybody was gone. Everybody got hurt in this game right here. In the Cowboys game and in this Packers game. And they got hurt in this Panthers game. Yeah. Somebody's ankle got broke right here. So I think the Panthers game is where Tip Ryman broke his ankle. That's when our fucking run game went down the fucking shit. Went down the hole. And then this is when James Conner got his ankle broke at that 49ers game. I don't know why you're trying to throw it to him. Like, he's not a receiver. You had all them other dudes wide open. But that's what happens when nobody's blocking for him because Tip Ryman is out. So he's got cut across the middle of the field, and boom, now he's gone. And then we barely lost that game. And then we had all those injuries. Boom, now the Seahawks beat us. Somebody else got injured right there. Ross Nolan wasn't in, things like that. We didn't even have our defense. Then we lost to the Titans on some shitty calls, bro. Like, horrible, bro. And then right here, we was already hurt. We put in all the new people, and then we did all right. We were hanging in there with the Colts. You feel me? We get somebody back around here, but somebody else got hurt. And then, we barely lose this game. And then we come back with damn near nobody and beat the Cowboys. Okay, the Cardinals are good. The Cardinals are going to be surprisingly good. Barely lost to the Buccaneers. Barely lost to the Jaguars. And we still had injuries. We still ain't recovered from this yet. These guys took advantage of it because our best players were gone. So, yeah, we lost that. All right. Then we got, now we got people, man. Yeah, this was a brutal season. Falcons was cheating the whole time. The Rams, well, we was toast by the time we got to the Rams. Yeah, so the rest of this you got to remember, all these are powerhouse offenses right here. And our defense was already busted. And our offense was already busted. We didn't have anybody to play with. So this is what I would expect. And then towards the end of the year, we got some. All right. We started to come back a little bit, but everybody was hurt. That was the last game. This year, 2026, we're going to play these Panthers. Now, we are going to probably lose this game. The reason why I say we're going to probably lose this game is because we have no Kyler Murray. The whole situation is different. We're about to find out what our line is going to do together. We're going to figure out if that Carson Beck is going to play or whatever. This could even be Minshew playing in this game or Jacoby Brissett. It could very well be a mix of all three of them in this game. So we don't know the quarterback situation, and we don't know who's going to be handling that all through minicamp and things like that. So we have the best receivers in the game by what I'm saying. As far as I see, we got the potential to, this year and next year, if we figure out this quarterback situation or if we just get somebody, if we had to pick up, Joe Flacco, that would have been wild, right? Joe Flacco to the Cardinals. What? No way. Yeah, some shit. But no, I think if we go ahead for our defense, if we pick up, since Clowney and Cam Jordan are both still free agents, if we pick up both of them on vet minimums or whatever, or deals for maybe 2 years, we can get our younger guys trained up, and Josh Sweat will have some familiar guys that he could team up with, and we might have a rush on them. We might be able to have a bit of a rush right there, a rush game. I feel like that would be a really good idea. Since we didn't make a move for Max Crosby, we didn't make a move for Trey Hendrickson. These are two guys I said, because we had enough money this year, if we just went and got those two guys and traded for them in the draft and just kept our first 3 picks and just traded all the other ones, we probably could have got a nice, cool deal. We could have got Jeremiah Love still, and then we could have got our O-line, and then we could have still got Carson Beck if we wanted to. I think pick utilization, contract bearing, these things are always going to give you the edge. So if you give up things like 4s and 5s in a package, and then 6 and 7 in another package, or you give 4 and 7 in a package, and then 5 and 6 in a package, you know what I mean? That gives incentive, because the later rounds are going to be where you find some of those gems. Guys that you wanted to draft, but there was another guy that was just a little bit better, so you had to go him first, and a lot of guys fall too. So this is a strategy that we should utilize in the future. Just keep our first 3 picks and drop the rest. And what it will do is it will always give us top talent choices, and it will always get rid of all the cannon fodder choices to bring in current relevant names that can actually impact our defense, our line, our offense, things like that. We need to actually open up we need to open up our minds on this. We need to start looking outside the box. There's too many good vets out there that could give you decent play with all these young guys on your defense. All right, the defense can be answered right now in free agency. So Cardinals, if you don't go after Clowney and Cam Jordan and get both of them for your defense to train these younger guys, you know what I'm saying? You guys are doing yourself a disservice by default. I mean, the safeties and the cornerbacks can figure it out, but you need to get this D-line and these linebackers together. You need to get this together. You might need to slide Zaven Collins back to outside linebacker, so that way he can, and put him in some rush packages. Maybe you guys need to go get Kaiser White back, because when you guys had Kaiser White, you had a top 10 defense. There was life. You guys were holding people, you know, they weren't getting any touchdowns in the home field and stuff. You know, you guys were starting to pick up some fans there. You know, you showed some life. And then this last year, everything kind of collapsed due to injuries and, you know, malpractice on the offense. Just general malpractice. And the defense just cratered. Okay, we got Calais Campbell back. Boom, that was a little more firepower, but did we address any names? Because we still had money. Now we're about to have the most money in cap space, but ain't nobody getting paid. So we need to pay somebody. And if we're not going to sneaky Joe Burrow, or if we're not going to, like, snatch up, like Lamar Jackson, his contract coming up, you know, like, you know, there's a couple guys out there that we might have to look. They didn't make a move on Malik Neighbors, so maybe they think Jacoby is the answer. Maybe they want to give it a shot. Now, I don't have a problem with you guys wanting to give Jacoby a shot. Cool, whatever. My thing is, if we're looking right here, this is our defense. I'll let the defense have that L. This is Jacoby's L right here. This is our defense's L. This is our defense's L. This is Jacoby's L. This is Jacoby's L. This is the defense's L. This is the defense's L. This is a team win. This is defense. This right here. The reason why this is defense, and I'll say this, because if defense had one more stop, that's the game. But this could also be considered offense, because y'all could have dropped another 4. See what I mean? But how many times did they hit 31? How many times? 27? How many times did the Cardinals actually hit 20, 27? How many times did they hit over 27 points? This is a Jacoby thing. Okay? Because if you go back here, Kyler was in the Jets game, right? No, wait. Let me double check this. Hold on. This is 2024. Yeah, Kyler was in the Jets game, 2024. Yeah. All right. Let me see. I went a little bit too far back. All right, this was 2025. Okay, so this is our preseason 2025. All right. I don't think Kyler played in this game. I think this was that Clayton Tune played this game preseason. Clayton Tune played this game preseason, I think. And then Kyler played this game. And Kyler got hurt in this game. Or he played in this game, and he played in this game, and got hurt in the Seahawks game. And then that's when Jacoby took over. And then Titans was Jacoby. All the rest of this was Jacoby. All right, so I don't know. It looks pretty even, honestly. And nobody cracked the over 30. So this right now, the Cardinals, it's definitely an offense issue. For most of these games. But I could still call some of these games. If it's over 30 points, that's the defense. There's no reason why we should be able to hold them under 31. Under 40. Yeah, easy. But there's no way. But look, that's defense, because you got Joe Burrow, you got he's got that Chase guy and the Higgins guy. They were eating. And then you still got you got Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams right here you were going against. You see what I'm saying? Like, we gotta look at who was eating this right here. Come on, CJ Stroud. This right here, who is that year? Penix or Kirk Cousins? Who was that? Who did that? That's an offensive problem right there. And the Rams, well, come on, we just explained how we got our asses whipped twice. I mean, it's the Rams. I mean, they got a team. Now, this was a good game. The Jaguars, yeah, Trevor Lawrence did his thing. He did his thing last year, went to the playoffs. I want to see him in a Super Bowl. I think the Cardinals and the Jaguars will be a good Super Bowl. That would be fun to watch. Everybody will be on the edge of their seat because they're wondering if the Cardinals could do it. Yep. Can the Cardinals win their first Super Bowl against the Jaguars? The Jaguars. However you want to say that. But the 49ers, I mean, this is going to be an issue. So, coming up here, the Panthers, we already know Bryce Young and some of those guys. He doesn't have too many, like, named receivers. None of the receivers on their team, like, pop in my ear. You know what I'm saying? So, this is a defensive game right here. If our defense cracks, we're toast. Because there should be no reason why everybody's healthy on the O-line. There should be no reason why Jacoby can't hit Marv and Michael Wilson and Trey McBride and Jordan Love's out there now. And, you know, we got the Kendrick Bourne guy as well. There's no reason why. And we got Algier and Connor and Trey Benson. There's no reason why the ball shouldn't move north. Okay? There's no reason why. Up the field, yeah. And the Raiders, okay, preseason. This right here, this is going to be a good game. This is just going to be a good game. Why? Because I'm a Los Angeles Raiders fan. I'm an OG fan. You know, back when Randy Moss was doing his thing and they won a Super Bowl, yeah. So, but the Cardinals in this one right here, this is going to be a good test because you got that Fernando Mendoza guy, right? And they're probably going to put Carson Beck in this game. I bet you they would. To see what he's got. And then this will be a good test for Carson Beck too, preseason. And this Cowboy, if he wins these two games, oh, they're going to play in preseason in the Cowboys as well. Or they might give this one to Jacoby. Yeah, they might give this one to Jacoby. And let Carson Beck take, like, you know, the first, like, few snaps and then let Jacoby take the rest of this game. If Jacoby wins this game, okay, he might start this game. The Cardinals-Packers game preseason, okay? If Jacoby starts this game, he's going to start the Chargers game. This is the prediction. I'm giving you guys a prediction. This game is going to be Carson Beck, Panthers versus Cardinals, okay? That's going to be a Carson Beck game. Everybody, this is a decent game to see what he's got. And if it looks bad, they can throw Minshew in there and see what he's got. This is a good test right here for those two. Raiders. This is practically a gimme. Okay? When I say this, I'm not sure if they're going to play Fernando Mendoza in the preseason. They might not play him in the preseason. I think they should. And see, this will be a good test game for him because the Cardinals don't have much of a reputation. So if they lose, it's a surprise. You see what I'm saying? Because they got the #1 draft pick. So they should be favored to win this game. So if Fernando Mendoza does his thing, right? It's a good test for them. Him and the guy, he went #6 overall, the running back from last year. Everybody's hating on him for some reason, but I think he's a pretty good guy. You know what I'm saying? He's just kind of small, kind of short, at least short. I mean, he's not like little by any means. He's a freaking grown man. All right. But y'all know who I'm talking about. But That's gonna, because he got drafted real high last year. Him and Fernando Mendoza, that's gonna be a good look. Now, Max Crosby, I'm not sure if he's even on the defense anymore. Now, if he's not on the defense, I'm mad at the Cardinals for not going after him. And I'm mad at the Cardinals for not going after Trey Hendrickson. Because I heard that a team went after Trey Hendrickson and they went after Max Crosby both together. And they only got Trey Hendrickson. So that was something I heard. But, you know, I'm not too sure how that's going to look. But I would say here, if Carson Beck wins this game, okay, if Carson Beck wins this game and this game, because these are two Carson Beck games that they should play him so they can find out what they got, because these are two opponents that are not too vicious. They don't have, you know, too many crazy names that could, like, really do you. All right? So this is Carson Beck games, at least, you know, this is my prediction. This is what's best for development. Now, Jacoby can have this game. And the reason why Jacoby gets this one is because they're saying he's the starter, but if Jacoby earns his starting raise, he could earn a raise right here. And the reason why we're saying that is because of this game. This was Jacoby. Jacoby did that. Okay? And that was just last year. Just a few months ago. Now, if Jacoby can come and do it again, you earned this spot. This is your spot, Jacoby. The reason why I'm telling you this is because if we look back at this one, whose game was this? That was Jacoby's game, right? Yeah. That was Jacoby's game. Not bad. Now we got our run game together because we got Algier and Jeremiah Love, so we should be able to get 4 more points. And our defense is supposedly better, right? Because everybody's healthy and they're coming back, and you know, maybe if they make this, like I said, the Clowney move and the Cam Jordan move, if they make that move, maybe that goes down 4 points. And now it's 27 Cardinals to 23 Packers. Maybe that's all it takes. 2 proven guys on defense coming in last vets, teaching these young guys how it goes. And then you fix some holes on offense, let it rip. See what you got. So this is very doable. All right. So with that being said, these 2 games are Jacoby Brissett games. Okay. And these 2 games are Carson Beck games. Panthers versus Cardinals, Carson Beck. That's a good tester. We're about to move to the next section. Cardinals, Raiders, good tester. Okay, Fernando Mendoza, he's a rookie. Rookie battle, yay! Oh, it's like the ultimate college championship all over again. All right? So that would be very vintage. Now, if Carson Beck wins these games, it'll be, like I said, Jacoby will start this game most likely. It's the Cowboys. Jacoby's proven with the Cowboys. Now, here's the thing. That's the kicker. If Carson Beck wins these 2 games, they might start him in the Cowboys game. And if it starts to go bad, they'll put in Jacoby. And then they'll keep Jacoby. Okay? So this is where the transition happens. If they don't start Jacoby in this Cowboys right here, if they do start Carson Beck, if he starts to slip up, Jacoby's coming in. And then this last game, Jacoby's coming in. And then Jacoby's going to take over until he starts looking bad. Then they'll probably test out Minshew. All right? So, Carson Beck slips up here, Minshew comes in. Then they'll try him again over here, Carson Beck. He slips up again, Minshew will come in. Then Jacoby, then Jacoby. So, there's only a few ways this can go. But if Minshew, right, takes over and does good here, all right, they might try Beck one more time. If it doesn't look good, they'll put Minshew in for the rest of this game. Now, if Minshew takes these 2 games and wins them, they might start him on this game. Depending on if Jacoby signed that contract or not. So these are very speculative scenarios, but it does make a lot of sense. If we're looking at the rational things and looking at logical, that would be the best way for development. Now we can even go a step further and say, how do we win this game here? How do we win this game? But we'll do the walkthrough first. All right, so if Jacoby wins these games here, right? They're going into the Chargers game with momentum, with some heat. And there's no bye. It don't show no bye for them here. All right? The only thing that shows a bye... Wait, hold on. Oh, I got to look at the dates. My bad. All right, so this is... To be determined. All right, this one is the 6th. All right, and then 10 days later. So there might be a bye right there. They might have a bye in the front. All right, so because I'm looking at the dates now, I'm doing the math. All right, this one is about 8 days away, so that's okay. That's a week apart, and then that's a week apart, and then that it's a bye. That looks like a bye right there. Okay, so we're doing 4 preseason games. There's a bye between here, and then we go last 3, and then we get that little bit of break for the Chargers. Now, we'll do rushing. We'll start this path first. Carson Beck does good here. Carson Beck does good here. All right. Now, they start Carson Beck on this one. He doesn't do good. Jacoby takes over and wins this game. They start Jacoby here. Jacoby does all right. They possibly win this game. Now, we got a little bit of momentum. Jacoby looks like the guy. He probably gets a contract between this time right here. Extension or maybe even a, a bump. But they want to get through these first 3 games first. So you do Chargers. If Jacoby wins this game, eyebrows go up. If Jacoby loses this Chargers game, momentum drops and his odds for getting a contract are done. He'll probably get traded by the time we get to the Lions. And Carson Beck might start the Lions because it's a home game, I think. So he might start here. All right. I would prefer Carson Beck to start here if Jacoby does not do good in this Chargers game. Okay. Let him try to bounce back in these 2 division games. If Jacoby Brissett does not perform in these 2 division games, throw Carson Beck in there against the Giants. Or start Minshew. If Minshew doesn't work out right here in the Giants, all right, if it doesn't look good, start him on the Lions for the first half. If it still doesn't look good, let him have the 3rd quarter. If there's no turnaround, give the rest to Carson Beck and just let Carson Beck take over at that point. And then his first feet in the water, he'll have a little taste of what it was to play against the Rams with Hutchinson trying to chase him down. And then he'll go straight to the Rams, straight into the fire, and then straight to the Broncos, straight into the fire. If Carson Beck does okay in this Rams game, okay, not bad, not good. Let's say, what was the last Rams game that we did? The last one looked like that. If Carson Beck's Rams game looks more like this first Rams game here, our first Rams game, which was this second Rams game. If Carson Beck's Rams game looks more like this one, okay, 20-37, we might have a turnaround after the Broncos. This game will be much closer. Okay, if Carson Beck does decent against the Rams, because Jacoby failed in his redo, he failed in this right here, Seahawks versus the Cardinals. This is Jacoby Brissett's Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl last year. If Jacoby Brissett cannot beat them in this Super Bowl, right here, See what I'm saying? This is his Super Bowl. If Jacoby cannot pull it off, he's gonna play this game. This is another Super Bowl game. These are Super Bowl teams we're playing. The Chargers is a Super Bowl team. The Raiders is a Super Bowl team. The Packers is a Super Bowl team. The Cowboys is a Super Bowl team. The Lions, I don't know if they got a Super Bowl. They might, but I don't know if they do. They might. The Giants got a Super Bowl with Eli Manning, that's for sure. Yeah, the Broncos had a Super Bowl before. Yeah. The Rams had Super Bowl. Everybody remembers Aaron Darnold, right? Donald, right? So, yeah. That's how that's going to roll because, like I said, Jacoby does all right here. You know, this is where they might be like, all right, we'll see how you do here and here. These 3 games are going to be his contract make or break. All right? By this time, it's over. If he does horrible against the Chargers, if he does horrible against the Seahawks, and if he does horrible against the Niners, he's gone. Minshew's probably going to be right here, seeing if he can handle the Giants, unless they want to throw Carson Beck into the fire. Now, I think Minshew is going to go in here because they want to see what Minshew got because they're paying him already. And he's the backup. So, if he does all right, of course he's going to start the Lions. If he does horrible here, he's still going to start the Lions. But if it doesn't look good towards, like I said, that half around that third quarter, they're probably going to put Carson Beck in and be like, all right, we might as well just let Carson Beck do his thing and see what's happening there. Like, they'll probably just let it flow and let it happen. Just to see what they got. So I think this right here, the Lions might be the earliest Carson Beck comes out. A lot of people are speculating that, but after doing the math and running through the logic, it does look like right here around the end of the Lions, you know, this is probably, if Minshew doesn't do good, this will probably be where Carson Beck pops in. And then he will be going against the Rams. Most likely. So Carson Beck will have to take the brunt of this. All right, so he's going to have his Super Bowl game with the Rams. He's going to have his Super Bowl game with the Broncos. He's going to have his Super Bowl game with the Cowboys. He's going to have his Super Bowl game with the Seahawks because these are Super Bowl teams. He's going to have to go against the Rams again, so hopefully he learned what's up from that defense by then. That way he comes back in and he smacks some shit. And then he's got his Super Bowl game against the Chiefs. And then he's going to have to play the Commanders. I don't know how many Super Bowls they got, honestly. Do they have a Super Bowl? That's a good question. Then here's another Super Bowl game against the Eagles. And then here's a chance to go against the Jets. This is where you kind of get a little bit of, like, you don't know what's going to happen here. These can go either way. Now, if Carson Beck is kicking ass, that's awesome. If he's, you know, making the same numbers Jacoby would have made, that Jacoby made last year, hey, not bad. They're still in games at least. But right around here with the Jets, this should be something. I mean, dang, you know, this should be a game that they could win. Like, they should win this game. I don't like saying should, but this is a game they should win. The Jets are not horrible, but the Cardinals are just better. Now the Saints, we don't know what that's going to look like. This is one of the question marks. But I would say something like, this is a game we can win, we should win. And then, judging by the first Raiders game is going to tell how hard this Raiders game is going to be. Who's going to be injured? I mean, is our team going to make it through a whole season without getting hurt? Who knows? We lost half our roster last year. In the beginning. So hopefully they should be fine by now. But this Raiders game is going to be a tough one for sure. Because we don't know what the Raiders are going to look like. And Fernando Mendoza had all season. So this is going to be a good rematch. It's going to be like their college playoff thing that they had. So, you know. And if Carson Beck won this one last time, he'll probably win this one the next time too. Now the Niners game right here, this is another Super Bowl game. If we beat the Niners here, that changes a lot of things for a lot of people. This is our last division game. This decides the division. All right, now that's the what ifs. That's the earliest we're gonna see Carson Beck is the Lions game, the end of the Lions game, possibly the Rams game. That's the earliest we'll see Carson Beck. Carson Beck. The worst case scenario, they start him in the Giants because Jacoby just failed and Minshew ain't shit, and they just threw him in at the Giants, and then yeah. So right here, Giants, Lions, that's the earliest you're going to see Carson Beck, at least in the regular season. Now, preseason, you might see them throw his ass out there against the Panthers and the Raiders because that's a good little test right there. They're not current Super Bowl winners, and the coaches that are running those teams right now, they are still trying to figure out what their identity is. So we might have a chance to, like, get Carson Beck's feet wet a little bit, and he might actually be able to catch the momentum. So I would say play him in these two games for sure. Preseason Panthers, preseason Raiders. All right. Now let Jacoby have preseason Cowboys if Carson Beck does not do good in the first two. Let him have it. So that way he can start getting warmed up and get another crack at these Packers. Because that right there is going to be one of those, all right, we need to make sure we have our cadence and everything like that. That's a good practice. This is practice. This is live practice right here. Okay? That's going to be good for Jacoby, getting him warmed up. He might have a little hot hand going into this Chargers game. Now, if Jacoby maintains a hot hand going into this Chargers game because he kicked the Cowboys' ass in his preseason, so, you know, we're getting to test out all the new LaFleur stuff, and we're switching in this person, we're doing all this stuff, and we're, you know, doing it. Now, people are going to have an idea of what they need to look for when they're trying to deal with us, and then we can go back to some of the simple stuff, and they'll think we're going to do some of that complicated stuff from the preseason from watching the tape. But here's the thing. This right here, this might be our opportunity to get the Chargers and catch them off guard by going back to the fundamentals and doing the basic shit really good. And then that scares the Seahawks because the Cardinals just whooped the Chargers. They whooped the Cowboys. They whooped the Packers. Jacoby Brissett's going on a run right now. But that's only the first game. So right here, when we get to the Seahawks, all right, the Seahawks, they're going to be a little bit, all right, we're going to have to really turn up on Jacoby. It's going to have to be on the run game. Our run game is going to have to stick it to their chin. And the minute they start trying to shift and focus on our run game, Jacoby's going to drop a dime to McBride for a touchdown. Jacoby's going to drop a dime to Marvin Harrison Jr. for 45 yards. Stops the clock. They run play action, but it wasn't play action because they thought it was play action. And Jeremiah Love runs it in for a touchdown. Okay? If we, like I said, we picked up Cam Jordan and we picked up Clowney and we put them both on our defense as our vets, teaching our young guys. See what I'm saying? The defense stops fumble recovery, game ender. we just destroyed the Seahawks. All right, that's if Jacoby has the hot hand. Okay, he has the hot hand because he came in off of some warms up right here. Boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? The Chargers thought we were gonna do all that tricky stuff from the preseason. Not yet. We're gonna save that till we need to use it. We go back to the basics. We whoop their ass. Basically, the Seahawks are shook a little bit. They think they're gonna bully us, but we end up running it down their face, and then that play action opens up, and then we just eat with all our receivers. That's 3 touchdowns. One from Michael Wilson, one from Marvin Harrison Jr., and one from Trey McBride. Instantly. And then Jeremiah Love will run for 2. That's 5 touchdowns. 5 times 7, that's 35 points. Or Tyler Algier ran for 1. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, that spreads the ball. It's more. You feel me? So we can beat these guys right here. All right. Now, when we're looking at the 49ers, this is where things get a little tricky. Because the 49ers are just notoriously good. Just notoriously good. Okay, if we look back at our previous season, when we played the 49ers, they whooped the shit out of us here, okay? And we were sticking with them here, but that's Kyler Murray sticking with them, okay? That part, exactly. And our defense everybody was healthy. So this is what a real game with the Cardinals looks like, with a real quarterback and a real defense. But this was some bullshit calls. And it stripped away some of our points we should have had. See what I'm saying? So this is the thing we're trying to overcome as the Cardinals. We are the world's most hated football team. It is what it is. Don't nobody like the Cardinals. Look at the Seahawks. Look, we have a healthy defense, we have a good quarterback, and we get some bullshit calls. And then look, what? Kyler Murray threw some picks in this game, right? So we even gave them the ball. Okay? So it's not like we're bad. We're just notoriously unlucky. Biblically unlucky. Bruh. Okay? Whoever runs the NFL was just like, ew, Redbird. I don't like the Redbird either. I don't know why. I just don't like it. I don't know. We could have been the Arizona Robins. That would have been cool. That would have been cool. Or like, you know, the Blue Jays or some shit. The blue one, you know? Like, I just think we need a new mascot and then we'll start winning games. If the Arizona Cardinals were not the Arizona Cardinals, I don't even think I think I might have seen a Cardinal out here once. Like, where are all the Cardinals at? Like, I don't see none. Like the fans, I don't see none. I think we need a new mascot. I'm gonna run that by the people. Arizona Cardinals needs a new mascot and we'll get some new mojo. I think we should be the Arizona Heat or like the Arizona Fires and shit like that. Yeah, a little fire emoji. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I'm serious. I think the Cardinals are overdue. I think we need to change our little emblem. Okay? And I mean, what would we be though? That would be, you know, anybody that's out there, if you guys get this or this clip, go ahead and comment. If the Cardinals change their mascot, what should they change to? Because I think this red bird is cursed, and I think we need to just ditch the Cardinal, or unless we're gonna go to the Robins, and then we don't have to change it too much. We just make the beak a little darker. You know what I'm saying? We could, you know, it'd be easier and just smooth the hair back, like throw some gel on that bitch. Yeah, you feel me? That's funny though. Good times. Now, I would say that here, here's where things started to get a little interesting, because we were toe-to-toe with the Colts. Now, this was a defensive malfunction because they didn't figure it out. Okay, Cam Ward did not figure it out, because if you watch their whole season, it just was abysmal. It was worse than ours. But this is where things get spicy right here. 49ers. This is an unknown kind of game. But if Jacoby has a hot hand coming right here, and, you know, we did our thing, and the defense did the thing, you know, but we would have to have, like I said, Clowney and Cam Jordan. That changes this game. Literally by 7 points. Now, this game will be a lot different if we had that, because the 49ers always find some way to overcome. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Brock Purdy magic. I always wanted them to trade Kyler Murray for Brock Purdy in a package and give them, like, George and, like, a third, and, like, snatch up Ayuk and Purdy and give them Kyler, George, and a third. That's what I always wanted before George and Kyler were gone. Damn, we could have made a steal. That was before Ayuk got hurt, before he got his contract. Just imagine that. That would have been a whole different team, and this would be a whole different team. But I don't think they think about these kinds of trades, because they don't want to be trading in division and things like that. But Kyler Murray would have been more efficient over there with CMC and all them. It would have been a Cardinals 49ers Super Bowl that year, because we would have had the passing, distributing, game managing quarterback we needed, and we had some pretty good talent that year too. We had a great defense. We had a lot of good guys. Kaiser White was one of the highlights. He even had an interception. He had some sacks, or a sack and a tackle for loss, things like that. But that defense, with certain guys out there, they have a chemistry that's hard to overcome. Now, this game will determine whether this game is easy or not. If we beat this team, the 49ers, this game, the Giants, is going to look so much easier. So, it will be a thing called an upset if we lose. Everything would just have to collapse in on itself. All right? But if we can, like I said, the only way we can actually have a good season, this is what we're going through. These are best case scenarios right here. Now, this is depending on how Carson Beck works. These two, we're not going to know. Carson Beck, Minshew mix. But if that doesn't work out, then Jacoby will start here. And if Jacoby does good here, he might be able to get a hot hand to do good here against the Packers. And then if Jacoby is putting the numbers we need to, because we can look back at the other Packers game we had that previous year, it wasn't that bad. Okay, so if we do it right, we got Jeremiah Love, we have more of a run game now, you know, things like that. When we consider these things, it depends on that defense. That's why. You feel me? It really does. So if they're putting in all the rookies and things like that, or if they're putting in starters, this will make a difference. If Jacoby does not have a hot hand from here, this is going to be much harder. There's no steam going into this game. Okay? Now, depending on how Jacoby does here, that's going to be what we're going off of for this Chargers game. So we'll say if Jacoby does decent here and we either tie this game or we win this game. Okay? There's some momentum going against the Chargers. The Chargers, therefore, will be trying to take us seriously, and they will try to gun us in the beginning, but they will tire themselves out very quickly. And then if we hold fast, we can take the long stretch and win by a field goal at the end of this game. That gives us momentum. So the Chargers game in the beginning of the year, depending on how this goes with this Packers game ahead of time, will determine if Jacoby's playing in the Packers game, will determine what the Chargers game looks like. Now, if they haven't gotten Cam Jordan and Clowney, if they haven't gotten those two guys for defense, this game looks a lot harder. Even if Jacoby has a hot hand, because we don't know what our defense is doing. Our defense gets smacked by these guys all the time. So if we do not have Clowney, and if we do not have both of them, Clowney and Cam Jordan, if we don't have them both, we're not gonna win this game. There's no version where we win this game. And then that throws this game out the window. Okay? This game is done too. Because if we lose this game with the Seahawks, there's no version of reality where we win this game against the 49ers. Okay? So, if Jacoby does good in Packers game, if he starts and they win or tie, the Chargers we'll have to hold fast, and at the end we can probably steal the win with a field goal, walk-off field goal. We might be able to pull it off. All right? If we get this Chargers game, the Seahawks, we'll have to look at it differently, okay? But our defense is the most important part in this game right here. Jacoby has proven he can put some points on the board, but if our defense cannot, this is a defensive game, and so is this one. Ayuk might be back. Purdy. You got everybody. Everybody's back. Their whole defense is back. This is where it's at right now. Giants, it's wild because if Jacoby doesn't do good in these first 3 games right here, the Giants, they're going to start Minshew for sure to see what Minshew got. They're already paying him. So I expect Minshew to start here. And if Minshew does okay with the Giants, then he'll start Lions for sure. If Minshew, I think he's going to start these 2 games for sure. If Minshew's not looking good by these 2 games, they're going to literally throw Carson back in around the Rams in this because they got nothing to lose at that point. All right? So, yeah. That's how I'm feeling about it. And then if Carson Beck does decent against the Rams, he'll start picking up momentum because the Broncos and the Cowboys, the true test is going to be against the Seahawks. That'll be his first Super Bowl team. Well, not his first Super Bowl team. I would say the Rams would be. But, yeah, this wow. I think they might make Jacoby just take this whole season. I think they might just make Jacoby take this whole season. This is not yet. Wait. Because I can see that, okay, if this doesn't work out, then they're going to be like, all right, Jacoby, you wanted to be the starter. So they'll probably give him the New York game. If you lose this game, yeah, it's not looking good, man. This doesn't look good. All right, so anyways, that was fun. So we did some football talk, some ball talk. You know what I'm saying? I do appreciate you guys coming, hanging out. I am gonna get myself up out of here. I was thinking about doing the AI talk, but we got into the football, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I do kind of want to get some rest. I am a little tired, but I think I have a few more things that I could spit out before we end the show. So for everybody that doesn't have an idea of what they want to do in their life, I just want you to take your time, okay? Take your time and sit by yourself for a little bit and really think about how you want to be remembered, okay? How do you want to be remembered? What do you want people to remember you for, okay? What do you want people to say about you when you're not around? Because this is going to determine what kind of things you put your mind to. So if you want everybody to talk good about you or feel good about you, or every time they hear your name they think of positive things and they start to feel like they can overcome. Like Jesus, for example. When you think of somebody like that, there's a certain feeling that comes to mind. And as people, we can seem to be selfish sometimes. Yeah, we can get selfish. Who doesn't get selfish? Who doesn't think about themselves? Who doesn't want more for themselves? Okay? But when we're getting more for ourselves, are we taking from other people while we're doing that? Or is somebody getting hurt from what we're trying to accomplish? And is this something that we're trying to do on purpose? Now, sometimes we do things and people just happen to get hurt. Sometimes that happens. It's life. But yeah, that's one of the things. We got to make sure that we focus on that bigger picture, the one that goes over a lot of people's heads, because it's like self, right? We have to be responsible for ourselves. We have to be responsible for every choice we make. So that makes it harder for us to really, the word is feel. Makes it harder for us to feel because we don't know how to feel. There's a lot more situations that are mixed emotions, a mixed emotional situation, very, very mixed emotional situation. Like when somebody passes away, but they left you a lot of money. It's pretty mixed emotions right there, huh? Because you're kind of happy because you got money left, but you're sad because they dead. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if that gets perceived the wrong way, somebody could just be happy that somebody died. See what I mean? That pride and those kinds of things sneak in. Now, the thing that is actually hurting our society is we stopped caring somewhere along the road. And I wish that us as men, we can go ahead. We have to set our standards for ourselves, first of all. As men, we have to set our standards for ourselves. If we do not set our own standards for our own selves, I mean, as a group, like we have to have a man standard, okay? There has to be a standard of what a man is. And as a group of men, if we set a standard and we stick to it, the women will have to see that as a structure within society. Like men's groups and sports and all these things men do, right? You got cars, buildings, houses, all of these things. These all make absolute sense. Okay? Now, all these things are needed. Without having these foundations, okay? Without having these foundations, this is where it gets out of control. Because as men, if we don't have our structure, we have no order, and now we're all over the place. And that means there's no room for ambition. That means there's no room for any kind of ideology. Because to have an ideology, you have to have structure. Okay? And to have structure, you have to have an establishment. Okay? And to have an establishment, you need strong people that all have the same idea. And these people all believe in the same thing. That's how you have an establishment. And then the thing that makes it difficult, and it starts to turn into a little bit of a gang, is because the establishment all of the people in the establishment believe the same thing because it's an ideology. See where I'm going with this? And if you don't believe that same ideology, okay, you are inherently going against it. You are inherently against their institution. Now, being inherently from the institution, okay, you believe what the institution believes because you study what the institution's materials that they deem are legitimate for their area of study. This is where the ideology comes from. The establishment, the institution. But it takes like-minded people, okay, people that believe in the same thing, to actually do it. Now, the best part is we can create establishments and institutions for anything and everything. And right now, we need an institution or an establishment that wants to benefit the nuclear family so we can keep our race going. Our human race, our race, yes. The human race, our species, our race, yes. Species is homo something, right? Their species is homo something and their race is human. Yeah, you're a homo species, right? All right, anyways, this was a good show. This was a good time. I had fun with y'all. But I will say here in closing that, well, I'm gonna finish this first. But I will say here in closing that, ladies, you are the epitome of what a man could be. When I say this, it's because you ladies have already gotten the ability to do everything a man can do, plus you can have a baby. Something a man can never do. So a man will never be equal to you. Do you understand what I just said, ladies? A man will never be equal to you because you can do everything a man can do, except you can carry a baby and he can't. You guys have already proved it. It's up to you to know whose baby that is. And ladies, you ladies are sacred, okay? I'm saying that you're sacred because we have to look at the world. We have to look at how society has been built. And we have to look at the fact that women are so sacred that you had to hide them or somebody would try to take them. That's why you always hear terms like, where are all the hoes at? Or where's all the ladies at? Or ladies night. Because they want all the ladies to come out because they be in. So can't nobody get them. Because women are protected. It's not that your man doesn't want to take you anywhere. It's just that when you go out, you're more vulnerable. And what? Would you, okay, I'll put it like this. All right, ladies. Would you take your, okay. Would you take your baby, right? Your newborn baby. That is the most adorable, loving thing. You love it so much, it's so adorable. It's your everything. Would you want to take that to a dangerous place? Like an open cage zoo. where there's lions and shit around you. And there's no guards around, and there's nobody to stop the lion from trying to eat you and the baby if it decides it wants to. And neither one of y'all is in any condition to protect you from the lion. All right? This is the situation men are in when it comes to their woman. That is their everything. That's their little baby. And if they go out there into the wild with all these fucking animals and these beasts and these monster ass niggas that want to come and take his girl, you feel me? That's where men are at. They want to take his baby. All right? That is the equivalent. So a man and his woman, okay, going out to the club and going out and going to all these different places where you're accessible is like you taking your newborn baby that's crying and going into an open area where there's lions and shit and there's nobody to protect you. That's that's the situation you're putting your man in. Okay? So if you take that into consideration, you start to realize that to be protected, you have to be inside of something. You have to be inside somewhere. So if you out in the streets and you saying that ain't nobody protecting you because you out in the streets, why you ain't at home where somebody could lock a door and have a gun? No? You didn't think that? All right, well, shit. There's your answer. So, ladies, if you're just out there, well, I have to be out. You don't have to do anything. You're choosing to do whatever that is because it fulfills you in some way. And if it doesn't fulfill you in that way, why would you do it, ladies? If the job you're doing has you in harm's way, you're out late at night, and it's putting you in all these horrible positions, but you have to do it to survive, right? But you have other choices because as a woman, a man wants to take care of you. A man wants to come be your knight in shining armor. There is a man that wants to be like, hey, let me take care of you, baby. And you're fighting that. You have options. You don't have to fight that. You can have him take care of you and have your job. But remember this, if he can take care of you and you don't need to have that job that has you in that dangerous situation, why not just do something different that you can do in a safe place? Because, ladies, you can't be safe if you're out in the streets and there's nobody with you. You're not even with a man that has a weapon or nothing. You're just out there thinking you're invincible. This doesn't make any sense. So when things happen, it's very difficult to come to the defense. I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I hold the door open for everybody. You don't have to be a lady that get the door held open for you. I got you. Go ahead. That's me. Anytime you see the guy that's opening the door for you, that's one of me. That's one of the guys that's similar to that's a decent dude. Okay? Now, there's a lot of dudes that pretend to be decent because you're pretty. Now, if you're a pretty girl, you can't trust the pretty guys. You can't. Pretty girls, y'all should always date down. Trust me. That is your hidden special ability. And these, you'll be able to tell because if you're dating down, right, all the most best looking guys will try to come and hit on you. You don't even have to say nothing to them. If you're a pretty girl, I promise you, the best looking guys are gonna come up to you. They're gonna be like, hey girl, what's up? See what I'm saying? Now, there are some guys that are regular dudes, gentlemen, that have it in them to come and approach you. But, you know, they're going to do it a little bit more different. It's not going to be what you would expect. Okay? But the thing is, a lot of normal guys, they're intimidated by females that are pretty. When I say this, it's because there's an expectation that you have to be one of the hottest guys in the world with all the money to approach a beautiful woman. All right? And there's a lot of women that are probably getting overlooked by the guy they actually want, and then they end up in the arms of the player. But it is what it is, because you hit and you miss. And sometimes it could be a lesson learned. Now, when it comes to men, there's a huge percentage of men that just don't know what to do. And honestly, there's only one thing to do, man. You gotta be you. You gotta be yourself, bro. And nobody knows what that looks like until you're doing it. All right? And when you're being yourself, there's gonna be a situation where there's a girl doing what you're doing. That's your opportunity. If she has a husband, most likely she will. Because if you're a decent guy and you're doing something that's wholesome, married women will probably end up doing that too. Now, if you see a group of females that are over there, always look at the fingers and see how many rings you see. Because if one of them is single and the rest are married, you got a chance to actually find a decent girl. See, good girls hang around with other married women that are like, good girls. I noticed that. And they keep in touch with each other, but they do things like, they do grown-up stuff with their couples. That's very respectable. It's very attractive. A woman that knows how to hang out with her couple's friends when she's in a couple, when she's in a relationship, that's very attractive. Single friends, when you're in a relationship, it's unattractive because it keeps a sense of you're just waiting to find something better. And maybe that's what you are doing, but good men are not going to respond to that too well. Oh, you want to find something better? All right, well, let me leave you alone then. That's how a good man is generally going to do that. If you think you're going to find better than me, I don't want to hold you back, but I don't want to get my heart broke while you're doing that. So that's real shit. Because there's a certain point where you have to give your all. There's a certain point to where when you have been spending enough time with somebody, it turns into a bond, and it turns into something that is consistent for you, and you don't want to lose that consistency, that stability. You get used to somebody, and then all of a sudden one day they just want to leave. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. There's gonna be a void there, because now you have to figure out if if you could ever get back to whatever that was. Because if you were feeling complete at a certain moment in time, especially in a relationship, and then that person just decides they want to move on just because they want something different, I think that's one of the things that hurts the most, because you might have been fully invested in that. That's one of the deepest cuts. But, that's why we have to start being more arranged with our marriages. Like, hey, I want this, I want to do this, and this is how it's going to be. Are you with it? And then you guys have to agree. And it has to be legacy. This is one of the things that's going to keep it together, if you guys want the same end goal. All right, so I'm going to shut up because, I'm talking way too much.
Get ready.
She said, this shit brand new, free flow. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been acting like this is not an art. You forgot about that part. Lately rappers been spitting like they ain't got a heart. Because when I step to the game, I rip that shit apart. My evolution with the Gyarados from Magic Carp, and I ain't finished shopping till the whole world is in my cart.
If you do not
with me,
want to
use a role and
change,
play your part. Beneficial
if you do not
functionality,
want to better yourself, if you do not want to break outside
always feel this hard.
of the
Only if the universe keeps
if you
dealing
want to
shitty
live in
cards.
your comfortable
Trying
delusion
as hard as I can
that they
against
have
all of
built
the odds.
for
Pushing
you.
as hard as I could is what got me so far. But what
Do
are my
not
chances of actually reaching the stars?
watch these
Still, I will never
Leave
get
this
up tatted
channel.
over my heart. Never my senses heightened and
If
my
you
weed up in the jar.
do not
Sexy middle
want
Eastern
any
looking
truth,
ass like I'm Jafar.
don't want to
When it comes
understand,
to the
if you
game,
are not
I'm
here
an eagle, you're par.
to
Please don't get to slipping.
hear
I'ma catch you off
something
guard.
that's
While you
outside of
chillin'
your
in the
own
crib,
mind
got your chick in my
and
car.
accept
Every
others'
time you hear it
minds
tripping
and
like that shit
opinions
sounds
and the way
bizarre.
they think for
Your
themselves
favorite rapper
who do not
try
belong.
hard, still is a mark. Still
And
like the
finally,
fuel to the game, watch
if
it
you are
spark.
not
My
trying
lines
to
burn like blunts, getting
positive,
smoked in the
if you
dark.
are not
Hella
trying
cooking
to
shit
help
up. If your
create
ass wanna
solutions
spar,
while we discuss
barbecue your
problems
beef
and
up
how
like
they got
seats
here,
in my car. Cool yourself
you do
off
not belong here.
refrigerator and jar.
Negativity, hate, disrespect, name calling, those things will not be allowed here on this platform and not in this empire. We are the ones, the true Americans, that want to be free and stand as we have always stood.
My little homegirl put me on.